Cool. All right, collab agents, welcome. Thank you very much for popping in to our monthly meeting. I know a lot of you guys actually been pushing through sicknesses. We have as well. We've been kind of pushing through our own thing, but this is something I'm excited to always be a part of. And we made a commitment to kick it off at a certain day at a certain time. And so we're going to keep that commitment to all of you guys. So I hope you guys are all getting better, feeling healthy. And we kind of had a down week, do only what's necessary. But I hope with today's meeting that it's going to leave you guys fired up, ready to build, ready to crush real estate. We have some awesome announcements from wonderful, amazing, kick-ass individuals. And then our guest speaker today is Mr. Michael Reese. He built up one of the top KW teams in the world and is, we'll do another introduction for him as well, but he's he's top 8 agents in EXP. So he is no shit in what he does. And he does it intentionally, he does it deliberately, and he does it amazingly. So we're excited to have him drop some fire for all of us and for you guys. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and kick off announcements from everybody and get it off. Pume?
Absolutely. So good morning, guys. Good afternoon, wherever you are. First up, we have Michael Libertini of Compass Home Loans, and he's going to give us a little bit of a lender update, tell us what's going on in the lending world and what our clients can expect to see. Michael, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Always love to be on the collab with all of the friendly faces on here. So wanted to provide an update, and I think the sentiment has been grim. For those of you who've been paying attention to the news, the Fed continues to elevate rates and talk about rate increases that sends a lot of fear inside of the market, but I'm here to dispel a little bit of that fear. So the cooling off of billions of dollars into the economy. And as a result, we've seen the Fed try to take their position to try to curb that inflation by increasing rates here. So today, I'm going to say that we're just a touch over 5%, not quite hitting the 5.5%. But what I'd like to do is layer over something else. So give me a quick second. Everyone can see this one. So if you take a look at a 30-year history of the rates, right, from 1971 to today, the average is 7.78%. Okay. And so when you start thinking about what rates were doing in the 80s, I mean, you're talking 18% up here, and we've continued to trickle down. Now you've seen some movement, obviously the 2008, 2009 crisis that comes down over here. We kind of muddle around, and then the pandemic happens and we really sweep down to this low trough here. Now it's on the back up and the rising, but this trend line right here is still the average, right? We're still well below the average. And so the only piece of advice that I would offer any of you and your clients is to take a look at this sheet real quick. Historic lows last year, you're looking at a payment of about $2,100, right? You take a look at the same loan, I'm going to go on the high side at 5.5%. You're looking at $2,838. That's a difference of $730. Now, I don't know about you guys, $730 is nothing to sneeze at. It's the same money, just different interest rate. But I look at it from an appreciation standpoint, right? So I multiplied this 730 by 12. If any of your homes are appreciating by more than $8,000 a year, which we know they are, you're still in the black. You're still in the black, even with the higher interest rates. So I think this is a temporary position for us. I think
we just did that training. It's key and pivotal to, again, solving people's problems. So when you actually find an obstacle, you're there to solve the problem. Numbers can do those. So you can use numbers to solve problems. And Libertini had an ingenious chart that lets you communicate to buyers. And it's one of those things where you're not in here saying the same script you were saying 4 years ago. Buy something, you're going to make money. And none of us actually said that. But it's about being intentional and intelligent with that. Hey, here's being able to use statistics, numbers. If you're actually planning on doing this, planning long term, the short term, and I've said this for the last 10 years, like short term real estate is not something that you bet on. And if you have a client that says, I'm going to buy now and I'm going to sell it in a year, you say, dude, you're kind of crazy. Like, that's the advising standpoint. So thanks, Liberty, for that. And I think everyone got that little Excel sheet. It was pretty straightforward. So next up.
So how many of you guys like ordering the leasehold docs, or how many of you guys have actually ordered it before? Yeah, so it like, okay, yeah. So like you only know how to do it because you had to do it, and then you have to scurry to figure out how to do it. So there's only one person that you can order the leasehold docs in Hawaii from. And her name is Malia. I'll drop her information in the chat, and I'll also drop the disclosure form. So a lot of people don't know, like we Level Up TC, we will actually order the leasehold docs for you as well. When you submit it with the pre-listing, we can actually start ordering it just like we would with condo docs. The only thing is they don't start the 6 to 8 window until they receive the prelim. So Malia can't start processing the leasehold disclosure or the documents until she gets the prelim. So yeah, leasehold disclosure docs. That's it.
Jade, I have a quick question. Does that
Sure.
also account for DHHL, or is that completely like different?
That is a great question. I'm gonna have to find out and let you know.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I guess I'm curious to see what Michael Reese brings with us today. Our goal is literally like half my energy goes into the like team lead gen stuff. The other half of the energy goes into you guys, helping you guys build, crush business, and do a bunch of stuff. So, you know, Taylor does a great job at marketing stuff. And we've actually been working really hard on some like funnel stuff. So that's my biggest goal for you guys, is to say like, I or we can bring you lead generation in a like easier packed solution. And that's what our big goal is because when you actually look at like the value proposition of our organization, it's amazing. You guys are freaking the 10% of agents out there. You guys are, you know, beautiful people, skilled, talented, sharks in the industry. Like, you're amazing. Now, when you look at the value proposition of us, you got training, culture, communication systems, programs. The one thing that I really want to be bringing to this table though is like lead gen funnels. And so that's just so you guys know, like what we're working on or been working on. It's going to be like that faucet to where you say, you need to join our group. It's the best out there. But there's reasons behind it. And we can also drop these lead gen sources to you on top of everything. So just so you guys know, like where we're headed over the next 6 months, that's what's coming up. So were there any updates before? Mike, you on, buddy?
Sure.
What's going on, bro?
How are you doing?
Doing good. So my goal is actually, on top of everything I just said, is to surround ourselves with like amazing people, like the 5 people that you surround yourselves with. And like Mike Reese has been an awesome friend, individual, acquaintance to align with. And so I've been doing some work with him over the last 6 months, and he pops on from time to time and drops a little of that fire on you guys. I wish I could play some Rocky music right now for the introduction, but you know, Mike Reese, badass beast, one of the top KW teams in the world, and what built up, sold off. Who's Used Commissions Inc? Who's Used Commissions Inc? Okay. Well, Mike Reese basically built it up and sold it off. You're welcome from Mike Reese. and he's done that time and time again. So when you actually have a system of somebody who can take something, build it up into something that's amazing, sell it off, and repeat the process, is a high level individual, built up also one of the top coaching companies, I think, and then kind of brought that to EXP, is now top 8 EXP agents at EXP, and is just doing things at another level. So without further ado, Mike, how you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How y'all doing?
Pretty good, bro.
Fixing to go to, I'm in leaving for St. Thomas tomorrow. Little day trip. So you know the kind, bro.
Oh, yep, you got it. Milani boy here.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. What's you know, do you want me to just go into you know, kind of what we're working on, or you know, what's the main thing right now that's most important for the group?
I think you can go into kind of what we're working on, because that's like my goal, is to be able to bring that the funnels and lead gen stuff to the collab. If you guys have any pressing questions as well, throw them out here or pop them in the chat, and we can kind of go through that. Does that work, Reese?
Yeah. So for me, you know, I believe that the most organized person wins. I believe that you know, so a little bit of my backstory, I sold a lot of real estate. I always approached real estate like a business. You know, so I don't, you know, I don't know that I knew at the time that I was trying to get leverage, but over time, as we, you know, I think it was just through personal development. That was my reminder to make sure I got on here today. But yeah, so through just personal development, I kind of found the things that I was most interested in. I was what he said a second ago was show me the 5 friends. You know, I got into understanding mental models. Mental models are the mind's way for making a decision. I believe the reason why that metaphor, if you want to call it, works, show me your 5 friends, I'll tell you your future. I know it's said a number of different ways. I think it's because, you know, the 5 people you are around usually always make decisions the same way you do. In fact, I believe all success is the sum of decisions divided by time. And Jim Rohn said, if you don't have everything you want, you haven't learned something yet. And so Elon Musk, mental model, always assume you're wrong, which puts you into learner mode. And a lot of people, their biggest challenge is they're not relentlessly learning. You know, I think that there's a constant battle for what we have and what we want. And I believe that people believe that they want more money. And I can tell you, you know, when I started with Commissions Inc., I think Travis led to it. You know, they had 30 days of cash. The founder called me with 2 guys working out of a dining room in a country house in Atlanta. And a couple of guys that he raised money from said, man, listen, you know, we have enough money to go for 30 more days. And they all suggested that he call me. He called me. And by the end of that year, we had been doing really well. We had 83% of all their customers. I had personally they had a tracking in place. So if I referred the customer and they purchased, they got tagged to me and my business partner. 83% of their customers were represented us, which gave us a huge ownership in the business. I drove on product development and through that sold the company to Fidelity for $250 million. I share that with you because I fell in love with solving problems. The only reason that worked, like a lot of people bitch and complain when there's problems. I write them down. I literally organize problems based upon impact of the value it's going to create in the marketplace or on the customer base. And I give it a different meaning. So a lot of people, you know, when things are happening to them, you know, I think those are a lot of the times they're opportunities to grow. So I have a lot of, you know, this is just me being honest with you. Like I learned how to take my frustration in everything and use that as what I now call breakthrough. So when I'm frustrated, I give it a different meaning, right? So if I'm frustrated, I say I'm about to have a breakthrough. And the reason why is because frustration is more of an emotional feeling that I feel like every problem has a solution, and you always have a move when you're playing 3D chess. It's never the problem, it's how you're thinking about the problem. And so I give it an empowering thought. And when you do that repeatedly and things get better, instead of going to a defensive place when things aren't like the way you want them to be, you realize they're not like I want them to be, but I do have, going back to the 5 friends, I do have control. And so for me, I put myself in the people's shoes that already have what I want. If they've accomplished something with their spouse, with their children, whatever it is, and I try to collect the mental models. Mental models are the mind's way for making a decision. If the sum of your decisions over time determine where you are today, if you're not happy where you are, then 100% accountability, 0 excuses. You have to say, what could I have done differently, right? What could I have done differently? Because you could always have done something differently. And so at the root, it's really, you know, determining what your goal is. You know, for me, my goal, I wrote a book called Digital President in 2000, started in 15, ended in 16. Didn't know anything about EXP. I had went into my business partners. We were doing about 10 million a year. I went into my business partner's office and said I was done. I told him that he could have it all. I said, hey man, listen, I'm done. You can have it all. He said, what are you talking about? I said, you can have it all. He said, what the hell are you going to do? I said, I don't know, dude, but I don't operate from fear. I think everything will work out, but I know one thing, I ain't doing this damn shit no more. And what that meant was I had been introduced to the concept of raising your standard, and raising your standard says what was acceptable yesterday is no longer acceptable tomorrow. And so I just raised my standard. And once I raised my standard, you know, there's a little bit of incongruency because, you know, a lot of the times we have the habits that dictate where we are, but all change starts with awareness. With awareness, you then can have desire, you can seek, ask, receive, take action, persist, and have accountability, which is the formula for changing anything. But without awareness, you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. And so until you say, like Elon, I'm not really sure, I think something's wrong here. It doesn't matter what it is. I think something's wrong here. Something doesn't feel right. I know that there's a better way, and I need to change my perspective. I need to change my story. Things aren't happening to me. I'm actually in control of the situation. And so for me, that's how I mean, it seems crazy, but I'm telling you, awareness, desire, seek, ask, receive, take action, persist, and accountability was what helped me go from what would have been defined as maybe frustrated or captive, if you will, to completely free. And I did it because once I, you know, without getting too weird on you guys, once I believed that, truly believed, and this was me, I believed that I could have anything that I want. And that's where I was broken. I mean, I was almost crazy. Once I believed that, I would look in, like we would be around and I'd be like, what do you mean 100,000 a month? $1 million a month, bro. We're trying to do $1 million a month, not 100,000. Right. But like, you know, that was my mentality. And when I wrote the book and told my business partner I was done, that set into, it's the butterfly effect. It put into effect, cause and effect things that would have never happened without me raising my standard. And through those things, I ended up where I was today, which is completely free, you know, and doing $30,000 a day in passive income. When I wrote a book about doing passive income, and I didn't have $30,000, I didn't have $300 in passive income. So who the hell was I to think that it was possible? And so, again, you know, with Travis opening up, you know, I think it is applicable to everybody, because for me, you know, I witness a lot of people, and, you know, like a lot of the times they have problems in their business life, but shit, I'll tell you one thing, if my personal life isn't right, my business life ain't right, you know, like it's hard to function, you know. So some of the times, you know, we got to prioritize the things that we have going on. I know when I'm working out and doing my workout the best, you know, my work's the best, right? And so I think that for me, it was imagining everything it is. I don't know what everyone here is pursuing, but just imagine you catch it, because you will, right? Like if I could go back and give myself any advice, I would say it's all going to work out. So like, it's really being, you know, happy with I can't go back to where I was with the stories that I could tell, you know, but those were moments that I didn't realize, you know, I guess I did realize at some point consciously that those situations, they didn't define emotionally how I made a decision, because I always believed that success. Everybody says, Michael Reese, you always said you're about to blow up. My wife says it, you know, people said it. Here's Michael Reese coming to stage. He always says he's about to blow up. Well, I think you did, you know, but I did. When it was the hardest time, the worst time, like my mind was I never focus on losing. I always focus on winning, period. You know, I don't focus on losing. Everybody's losing somewhere in their life right now. And if you think about when you pull up to the next stoplight, the next 10 stoplights, I want you to think about the last thought you had. And was your last thought about winning, or was your last thought about the problems and losing? You know, and the truth is that a lot of us unconsciously go around thinking about the problems when we really need to be thinking about the offense, about how we're about to blow up, and those other things that are, you know, my mom said to me, she was like, Mike, I told her a big problem that I had, and I respected her. She was a command sergeant major in the military. And she said, She said, well, Mike, it sounds like none of that stuff's in your control. So you need to let it go and move on. Right. And so, you know, a lot of the times where if you're not where it's just becoming the best version of yourself. And, you know, when I woke up this morning, I went to get a coffee, and I was driving to get a coffee, and I was by myself coming up to the stoplight, and I remember thinking, like, doesn't everybody really know what's up, buddy? Come say hi. Come say hi. This is my son. Sorry. Say hi.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
Hi.
I'll be right there. Shut the door.
You're famous, bro.
Yeah, I'll take you here in a little bit. All right, shut my door. So, you know, for me, I try to collect mental models like baseball cards. So I try to go around everybody, and I try to vacuum up. Like, I don't care who they are. Everybody has something that they've done. And I mean, I try to learn, like, what is this person's secret power? What are they good at? How did they learn it? You know, some people, you know, they're good at operating under pressure. Some people are good at just having a positive attitude. Like, I'm trying to figure out, you know, what can I learn? I look at people's forehead and I'm like, what can I learn from this person? Right. And so it's about becoming the best student. And then, you know, for me, it's when I was driving to that stoplight, I said to myself, I was like, there's no way that people don't truly all know what they should do today. Like, everybody like knows exact, but you know, it's like, I'm sure there's people struggling, like, I don't want to go to the gym. I know I need to go. I don't want to do this. I know I need it. I know I'm gonna just put the dish in the dish sink instead of in the dishwasher. I know I need to do, like, you know, it's just playing half speed. And so the truth is, it's very, very, very hard to not be successful by playing full speed, being relentless, and just seeking out the people who have what you want. The people who have what you want will share with you. 99% of the time, they're an open book, you know, and they know, they can see it in your eyes, like the eye of the tiger. When you come to them, they're like, yeah, this person reminds me of me. You just know they're going to get there because you know they're in pursuit. Like, it's almost like magnetic, like they're freaking going. And so what I always ask myself is, why do this is when I moved to Puerto Rico, I asked myself, I told a couple friends of mine, and this was over about a 30-day period, I was struggling because someone that was really close to me went through a divorce and they lost their drive. And it was like I was wondering, like, what is drive? And like this person is extremely talented. This person, you know, wants to do better, but like went from waking up early to sleeping in, went from this to that. And I was like, you know, what causes a person to not have drive? And then I randomly, my business partner got real excited, hired a coach, and he was like, I walked in his house like 2:00, and he was on the phone with this coach, and it was like weird, like the universe. The guy says, do you know what the 5 causes of drive are? And I was like, oh my God, he did not just say that. And he rattled them off, right, and went through. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, you know, if you could, if you know, if you're not driven, you're not driven. But it's very hard to say that, like, you know, people don't know what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean? The question is like, are they just half stepping, like, hey, okay, there was another call. All right, well, back to just the life. You know, are you really trying to, you know, I mean, for me, it's my kids. Like, I mean, I feel like I feel like I'm an example, right? Like, I feel like it's my responsibility every single day to, I would just say what I want to say. I go hard, you know what I mean? Go hard or go home. So when I wake, I know if I sleep in, I know for 100% fact I get more done in the morning than I do later in the afternoon. So for me, I'm get up, you know, get up earlier, right? Like, and so, you know, I don't think that there's anything that I mean, like, all of that is what makes somebody successful at selling homes. All of that is what makes somebody successful at Agent Attraction, because effort is the energy it takes to overcome resistance. Effort is the energy that it takes to overcome resistance. Everybody has resistance. But when you come up against resistance, is it effortless? For me, it's effortless. It's effortless. I ran a 62-mile run 2 years back to back till my toenails fell off. I did an Ironman without training. You know why? When it came hard, I just kept going. I just, like Dory, just kept swimming. You know, when I wanted to stop, I kept pushing. I don't stop, period. That's who I am. And so it doesn't mean that my feet don't hurt, my toes don't hurt. Doesn't mean that I like not feeling but it's like, for everybody on here, you have to ask yourself, in my opinion, whatever your goal is, because I'm not saying that anybody has a particular goal, but I would say, you know, what the hell is the goal? Like, what is the goal? And like, here's the word, congruent. Are you truly being congruent with your behaviors to get to the goal? Meaning, you know, like, are you trying to go 100 miles on $5 in gas? I mean, do we have the real like game plan here? And if not, are we relentlessly seeking? I mean, you know, for me, it was marketing, right? Like, once I learned marketing, I'm telling you guys, I spend hours and hours and hours and hours. I fell in love with it. Like, I'm sure a mixed martial artist goes to the gym to study, you know, their jiu-jitsu or their craft. You know, like, what are you becoming an expert at? Like, what are you doing? You know, like, what are you doing? Not anybody else, not why everything ain't working like you thought. Like, what the hell are you doing? What is your effort metric? What is your effort metric that you could say at the end of the day, I put it on the field? An effort metric, HLAs, what's your highest leverage activities that you do daily? Are you trying to make $1 million a year doing $10 an hour work, right? Like, you can't make $1 million a year doing $10 an hour work. You got to make $500 an hour, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year to make $1 million a year. And so the question is if I say the most organized person wins, what areas in your life are probably, could you get more organized, right? Like for me, I know exactly, like, based upon my goal, I know my HLA, my high leverage activity. I know my effort metric, and I know that I have the time in the calendar and a plan in order to get there. I tweeted yesterday. I don't tweet that much, but you can follow me on Twitter at Reese. But I use it more. It is kind of the insight to my mind, because I know nobody follows me on Twitter, but it's kind of a place where I stab my ideas for myself. So it's actually like, when I have an idea, I want to do a content on YouTube. So when I want to put something on YouTube, if I'm in the house and I have an idea, I'll tweet the idea. So I'll tweet the lesson, like the big thing, the takeaway. And then I'll go to my Twitter and I'll say, oh yeah, that was. And so yesterday, when I tweeted Think Week. The strategist always wins. One word close, happiness. And I did that. And I know that was real encrypted. Only one person that follows me would have known what that meant in the world, because we used to do a lot of strategic thinking. And strategic thinking is why, when I walked into that room and I told that gentleman that was my partner, I didn't want to do it anymore, because I realized when I worked at Valley Total Fitness in 98, 99, when I quit and got into real estate, I knew that if I had my boss's job, I wouldn't be happy. And so therefore there was no reason to stay. And then when I was in this particular situation, I literally made a list of everything that I did not like. And here's what I meant. If I cringe when I open your email, if I do not like it when I see your name come across my phone, if anything that takes away my energy, I put your name on a list. And that's what this means, right? That's what life by strategy, that's step one. Step one of living your life by strategy is writing down everything you hate, you don't like that disempowers you, doesn't give you energy. And then I did the adverse of that and put everything I loved, right? Like the things that, like, if I worked 52 Sundays in a row for free, I would continue to do it because it gave me energy. It gave me passion. And I think that, you know, being able to figure those things out and believe that you can do that and have the life that you want, I mean, you first have to start. I did mine. I went to Staples and I bought all these stickies. I did it for like a week. Oh, I don't like that. I hate that meeting. I hate opening that person's email. You know, I put all in red the things I didn't like, and I put all in yellow the things I did like, and then I categorized them, and I started to see a theme. I themed them out, right? I hate not being able to finish. If I work with you and we start and we don't finish, I don't want to work with you no more. Because I like to get to the end zone, period. Like my fulfillment is crossing the finish line. It ain't about starting. It's about when we both know shit's getting hard and we want to quit and we want to skip the meeting and we want to get unorganized and leave the meeting without scheduling the next meeting, and no one's got notes and there ain't no damn agenda and no one's broke down the priority. And we all don't have a due date, and we know we need to have all those things because they govern success, but we're skipping steps. That's when I like to pull it together when other people are breaking down. It's on mile 59, you know, everybody quits climbing the mountain when they're right by the top. And so I like to be that one to bring everybody back together, remind them what the goal was, what we were doing this for in the first place, why we don't like the things we hate and the things that we love. And then that's where we find our energy. And so, you know, I don't think that's it. I could say that everybody is at a different place. But I know when Tony Robbins came out in August, Tony Robbins came out and he said, you know what happiness is? This is what he said. First 3 minutes. You know what happiness is? Happiness is progress. And it was hard to deny that because like if today, like selling a house was the goal, then it's hard to be happy, right? Like that's like mowing grass or cutting hair. It's not the money, the selling of the house. There's got to be a deeper reason why you want to sell that home. For me, every single day at 12:30, I meet with an architect. I'm building my dream house. And so today we went through the cold plunge. We went through the cold plunge, the steam room, the sauna, the porta cachet. And I could tell you a whole backstory, but that dream house was a dream. I mean, I envisioned that house. I envisioned it. I knew it. I knew I was going to design my dream house. I knew where it was going to be. I knew what kids class my kids were going to go to. I envisioned it. And so, you know, I think that a lot of people think that that's hogwash, but it's not. Go run 100 miles with me and see what makes you through mile 90 and 10, mile 90 and mile 100 is going to be the hogwash. Because the only way you get to the end is by having a strong mindset, like a really strong mindset when things are getting tough. And so it's being able to have a vision and a reminder of why you did it and having a purpose. Otherwise, it's just too painful. You know, it's like, hey, man, I'm going to stop. No, I'm not going to stop. And so the most value that I feel like that I can bring to you guys, you know, if it was marketing, I'm working on long tail. That's what I'm working on. There's a book called Long Tail. I'm working on putting, right now I have 2 different funnels. I'm working on 2 different campaigns for those funnels, and I'm just plugging holes right now. So I'm literally going to the front of my funnel and working it all the way backwards and making it more bulletproof. You know, specifically around objection sequences, frequently asked questions, things to that nature. And I'm getting content to be in those follow-up sequences. That's what I'm working on as far as agent attraction is concerned. You know, and I'm working on a little bitty, a few ideas as it relates to being able to scale and help people a little bit more in a more organized fashion, which I'm probably the most excited about. So I basically have been working on a duplicatable project management so that I could hold people accountable to getting their funnels built. Because a lot of the times I could lay stuff out, but when people don't get to the end zone, it's because I didn't, you know, what could I have done differently? I could have built it out for them in project management and had them had more accountability around their deliverables and homework. And so those are the reason I'm doing that is because I believe that those are the individuals that, you know, are going to have the biggest impact on the goal, which is, you know, helping real estate agents find a better way. Do I talk about the same stuff every time I get on here?
No, bro, it's good. It's what's needed. Our last chat when we hopped on, which we'll set up another one because I want to get this shit done. I want to get through that fucking finish line.
I got you. I'll blow your mind when I show you the checklist.
Beautiful. Okay, when I said to you, I was like, dude, I'm still in production. You know, I'm building and I'm in production. You know, I don't know if it just makes sense. What did you say? What did you tell me?
So this is before when you were here or before you got here?
Our last Zoom chat.
Okay. So you're in production and what doesn't make sense?
And I was just saying, I was like, well, half my energy goes into production and then the other half is like building and coaching. And you're like, and you talked about what you did and how it doesn't make sense necessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember particularly if you gave me a little bit better, but I'd probably say the same thing if I understood what you were saying. So if somebody's in production, you know, the bottom line is when I was in production, I was living my life by transaction. And so, you know, for me, I don't look at I'm telling you guys, I was just like everybody on this call, but I was very much of a student. I mean, I stayed in my office and read and consumed, and I came to the point where I wasn't trying to make, like most people are calculating value by the money they're going to make in June or July. I'm focused on 2023 money. Like I'm not even thinking about 2022 money. Right. And so I'm thinking different, you know, so like for me, I'm not, and when I had to make that happen because I had to lower my bills. When I got married, my bills were 11,500. It took me and my wife a year to get them down to like 3,500. We moved into our lake house, had no cabinets, no countertops, pulled all the shit off the walls. We got like super frugal, paid off every bill. I'm not endorsing that. I'm just saying what I did. It was a long time ago. But for me, I wanted to be able to hold my breath. I wanted to have runway, meaning I didn't want to get sucked back into needing money to keep the machine going. I didn't want to be put in a situation where I had to make long-term decisions based on short-term circumstance, right? And so if you look at Brent Gove, you know, agent attraction is a business. It's a business, and it can be whatever type of business you want. It can be a full-time business, just like real estate can be full-time. It can be part-times. It could be, you know, whatever you want it to be. However, what I do believe is that I believe that money is the score of value that you create in the marketplace. And I believe, based upon the people that I know that I've introduced EXP to, that their lives have been changed, a lot of them. I can name them. And so for that reason and that reason alone, I feel like I create more value in the marketplace by working on agent attraction. I could go sell homes tomorrow, and I do sell homes. I just have a different meaning. In 2016, I did 268 transactions, right? In 2008, I did 368 listings. I've sold my fair share of homes. But that doesn't help me help other people win. If I go help somebody else sell 300 homes and somebody else sell 300 homes and someone else sell 300 homes, you know, when I started working with Veronica Figueroa, you know, she was doing 350 deals. You know, she did 2,400 transactions last year. So I feel like my impact is better and bigger than going out there. You know, it's just changing my mindset, right? I mean, I feel like Gary Keller sells homes. You know, he sold homes, then he opened a brokerage and sold homes. He just organized people to create value. Yeah.
Sorry.
Nope.
And you were just saying like how Brent Gove, how he mortgaged his house twice to come out of production. And then it's quantum science, which I'm a quantum physics geek. I love it. It's, you know, bending the realities of our fabric of existence. And when you actually do these things and put in alignment or congruence, like some things that might not necessarily make sense start to make sense.
Well, here's the reason people don't do it. They don't know what to say or they don't believe. So I'll give you an example. Is it Puhana?
Pumehana.
Pumehana. So let's say I asked her, hey, tell me the one person that you know you'd be most nervous to present the opportunity to. Let's say that, and she said, okay, I know who it is. It's such and such, Daniel Kahuni. I was like, all right, let's say it's Daniel. We're going to call Daniel in 10 minutes. And imagine we called Daniel and Daniel came over. If she did that twice with me and both of those people came over, her mind would shift and it would say, well, shoot, these people are coming over. I mean, I guess I was like, that's what happened. So like with Woods, that's what I did. And he did Trisha Turner and Scott Osler. Scott Osler from Utah, the #1 agent, and Trisha Turner, a 50-person brokerage who just went independent and just rebranded her own office. And both times he gave me 2 people's names on 2 different occasions, and both times those people were at EXP in 2 weeks, probably 10 days at the max. And that's a paradigm shift. And so, you know, what is a paradigm shift? I mean, that's really the question. You know, I got into this whole thing about 3 weeks ago and I wanted to write it all out, and it literally came down to paradigm shift. It was crazy. And I got to like the nucleus of what a paradigm shift is, but essentially we all have a paradigm of how we look at the opportunity. And for some of us, we'll have a shift and some of us won't, period. And the question is, what creates those shifts and what causes our current paradigm? And our current paradigm is all made up, 100% made up. We have this narrative and this story and this thing and this, you know, some of it's driven by ego and status and certainty and human needs and all this stuff. And, and that's puts us right where we are today. And to me, there's just more pain associated with staying exactly where I am today, knowing Jay Abraham, my mentor, said, Mike, if you don't become strategic, you'll be only plus or minus 10% every year. You're not going to grow exponentially. And so for me, I had to understand what strategy actually meant. That's why it doesn't say life by design. It says life by strategy. Like you can design a house, right? But strategically, you might live in one house versus another based upon, strategy is going to be more of the why, right? Not the how, right? So there's why, went, what, and on the one-page strategic plan, it goes from left to right. Why, Vern Harnish, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. Why, when, what, how, who, strategy, tactic, right? Breaks it down. And Michael Porter's Good Strategy versus Bad Strategy says, and I say the strategist always wins. The strategy, you have to be the strategist of your life. Well, what supersedes strategy? Business model. That's what they say. The only thing that supersedes strategy is model, right? Because you can have the best strategy for the wrong model. And model by definition is the way that you capture the value. It's Webster's Dictionary's definition. The way that you capture the value you create, right, is the business model. Some of us don't capture all the value we create. And so once you have your business model, now your strategy is like, I had this call with the lady. She's out of Colorado Springs and she's looking to join EXP. And she has her niche is military wives, I think. She has a 45,000 person Facebook group. Do you know who I'm talking about?
There's a couple groups. I'm assuming.
Amazing story. This girl's gonna crush it. Got a guy in North Carolina. He's the ops manager. We're making how to pass your real estate exam flashcards. Dude is gonna crush it. I deal with people that never sold more than 15 homes that got 1,000 in their downline. I deal with, like, my camera guy has 400 people in his downline, and I hired him to be my camera guy 24 months ago. And after videoing my testimonials, he asked me, should I get my real estate license? And I said, yeah. And he's been, you know, but he doesn't know the difference. And so, you know, because he only has the paradigm that I created for him, not one that was created based upon his perception of real estate before he got here and all this other stuff. He was a better student. He was a better student. He listened. He followed instruction. He did exactly what we talked about. He did the assignments. He didn't have limiting beliefs. I told him exactly what to do, and he did it. You know, it was easy. Same with Levi. Levi did 40 recruits in 6 months. Same exact thing. Had no paradigm. You know, I created the paradigm. The paradigm I created was everybody's coming. And there's going to be 400,000 new people get licensed this year. All you got to do is get 40. Right? Like, that's it. That's all this game is. And the question is, you know, I can tell you one thing, you're not going to get them if you're not having conversations. Think about real estate. In real estate, it's the same thing. Like, you cannot typically, and like, let's not be, you know, like combative. Let's assume we're not talking about the outliers. I'm making general statements, but not to be debated. But most of the time, we cannot sell a house without having a conversation with the homeowner. Okay? When I did 368 listings myself, I talked to over 700 homeowners. That's a fact. Had to. That's how many I talked to face to face. Right? How many did I have to talk to over the phone to talk to that many face to face? Right? And was there one particular methodology that allowed me to talk to more people than another? Yeah, there was. There was actually things that were more productive than the other, productivity. And there were cycles, meaning there were people that were more likely to, we call it the cash conversion cycle. I'll just be direct. People that called off a property brochure from the day their contact was created in the database to the day they closed was the shortest conversion cycle we had for all lead sources, period. Meaning if someone's sitting in front of the house, that means they drove by the Target and the Starbucks and the school. They're not traveling or buying plane tickets. Like, they literally in front of the house and grabbed a this is why we put brochures on all of our listings, as we quantified it, right? And so in agent attraction, for me, my average person watches my webinar 4 times, right? That's what they do. They watch it 4 times on average. So the question is how many times do they watch your webinar? Like, you know, I'm able to create a video asset of a 60-minute presentation and track it and have people watch it. And as a result of that, I don't know these people. I mean, the guy that I just got, I don't know. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. He watched my webinar, watched it again, had a call to action. These are principles, right? These are principles. So if somebody went online right now and said, this happened yesterday with Alan Witt, but if somebody went online and said, let's just say whatever market you live in, right? Let's say someone gets their license and they're like, well, I wonder what the fees are. And they go to YouTube and they put EXP fees. Could they even find you? I mean, you know the fees, you pay them, right? But could they find you? If not, then the people who are making money at EXP, all they're doing is creating more value in the marketplace. And they're doing that by investing time. And they're doing that time by creating content, which is the governance of the law of what's working today, because the funnel is no longer linear. It's the information age. People can go out and get information. They can Google it. And so that's like going back in time and having an MLS book. It's ridiculous. Why would you have an MLS book? Why would you do it the old way? Well, for us, you know, think about the people who only knew that way. You know, we seemed savvy. Well, the people who are doing well, Ricky Caruth, Michael Sherrard, I mean, I could give you 15 names, Chauncey Pham, they're publishing content. What kind of content? The same stuff y'all all know, right? Like, it's not exclusive content, but they're doing something. They have an effort metric. Now, how many videos would you have to publish for you to get a recruit to say, huh, this might work, right? Like for my buddy Levi, he quantified each video he published was worth $7,000 year one. Year two was 11,000, right? Well, would you shoot a 20-minute video for $11,000? And if so, how many would you shoot? Well, the reason you don't shoot them is because you don't think they're worth $11,000, but they are. They're just not worth $11,000 in June. They're just not worth $11,000 in June. And so the strategy would be that I agree that people are going to get their license. First of all, go look at the top 10 people and look at the common denominator. Go look at them. Just look at the list. This person, this person, this person, this person. They all have a call to action. And just for the record, people have done this in less than 12 months who have never sold a home before. I've literally had people sit in a conference, a workshop, where I share the same belief system I'm sharing with you. They're not even licensed. They're at an agent's event as a guest who's been licensed 20 years. And they literally in 24 months, 18 months, outsell them and out recruited them from scratch and got a license. It's easier to grow fast than it is to grow slow when you have the right strategy. But when you don't have, if you can't write, if you can't send me an email, if you can't say, Mike, here is my strategy. I know you might not ever read this, but I feel like it's worth my time to write it out and get my thoughts together, right? And so, you know, you know, I want to share my screen. I'm not going to get into it, but I mean, I got tons of, you would think I'm a mad scientist. I told Woods today, I was like, dude, all I do is write down notes. Anything that, like, strategy is like, nothing's wrong. Write it down. Like, write it down. Here's all my ideas. Those are just opportunities. Doesn't mean you're going to take advantage of them, but you stab them with the pen. And then the question is ease to implement, impact on the target. There's questions you can ask in order to prioritize which one you should focus on, and then give yourself permission. And so, you know, usually if people show me their calendar, I'll show them their future. You know, show me your calendar. I'll tell you why you don't have anyone in your downline. Show me your Audible account. I'll tell you why you don't have anybody. Show me your, yeah, there you go. Show me your YouTube history for the last 24 hours. Let's log into your YouTube and hit history. Let's look at your Google history and see what actually, are you waking up like relentlessly seeking a better way? You know, because you know, the seekers are going to win. You got to outlearn your competition. I was a C student. I have no advantage over anybody else except that I'm driven and I put in the effort because I don't believe I know what's possible. And I know anything's possible. If I know that you can learn anything and everything out there is learnable. And, you know, if you're humble, you know, if you're humble and you know, you're a learner and you're open and you're out there, you seek, you shall find. You'll find an answer. It'll happen. But if you don't ASK, you won't GET.
Boom.
Boom.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Definitely appreciate
incredible.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody
Well,
fired up yet?
Hey, listen, I'm telling you, the game is won and lost right here. You might think it's out there. If you ain't getting the results out there, it's because of up here. It's because of up here. And the cool thing is change happens in an instant. It's your decision to change that can take years. Y'all take care.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Dang, guys. Very tangible stuff.
Speechless. We are speechless.
No, absolutely. No, and it's yeah, he's freaking awesome. At this point, I don't even want to see. We don't need to see the dashboard anymore. We don't need to ask for his rev share. It's a lot. So, and but it is the value proposition and it is time. So it's like, one of my takeaways from that is it's easy for people, and our group doesn't do this, but it's easy for people to look at that and think for a second, like, must be easy or must be, no, dude. Mike Reese wakes up at like 4 a.m. every day, and literally he shows me his calendar, like him and Woods from like 5 a.m. to like 10 a.m. every morning, like are jamming masterminding stuff like every day. You know what I mean? Like, so it's the amount of intentional strategy that he's put into his business, doing what he's doing. You know what I mean? It's no joke. So it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where like, if you ever think about like waking up early, if you question it, because it's like, I've seen people question waking up early. And let's say you wake up at 7 a.m. every morning, okay? Decent time. And let's say you wake up at 6 a.m., just 6 a.m. from 7, you know what I mean? That's an hour earlier. That's 7 hours a week gained. You know what I mean? That is what, 49, or sorry, that would be about 30 hours a month gained. That would be about what, 360 hours a year gained from 1 hour difference. From 7 a.m. to 6 a.m. And this is not to preach on wake up earlier, but it's when you set your goal from where you are now to where you want to go, the strategy comes into planning out your day, your morning. First of all, read books, crush books. Miracle Morning. So Nisa's crushing on it. It's been really great for her. It's a very tangible, doable morning routine to like revamp. And I watched her wake up earlier without me saying it. And that's one thing, like if you have spouses or partners, whatever it is, you can't tell that person like you should do this. So like you have to do it yourself, or like when I work on myself, subsequently Nisa works on herself and vice versa. And so that was one of the things that came across is live by action, and other people will see it. But she did the Miracle Morning, and she started to wake up earlier and earlier to where she's like waking up almost before me, if she's not up before me. So like, it's good. So I hope you guys got a lot out of that. He's freaking awesome dude. He's just a cool dude. So
thank you so much, Travis, for putting this together. And thank all of you guys. Go out there and make it a great day. Aloha.
thanks, guys.